Hello, Rabbi Yigal with some insights on Hanukkah. Hanukkah is just around the corner, Sunday night, December 14th, or the 25th day of the month of Kislev. Hanukkah, as we know, during the 2nd century, the Greek Syrians essentially, together with a large group of Hellenists, as they were called, came to attack the Jewish people. And their attack during the time of the Second Temple was one that was not just on a physical level, it was on a spiritual level. Their main objective was to actually not eradicate the Jewish people. It was not to, God forbid, kill, slaughter, although they did some of that as well. But their main objective was to try to alienate us from our spiritual connection to the divine. They said, you want to study Torah? You want to keep the holidays? You want to do all of these types of things? You're okay to do so, but just call it cultural. Let's not discuss whether that's going to connect us to God. Let's not focus on the spiritual element of what we're doing and how that is really meaningful in the eyes of God, and how every time we do something holy, we are elevating the physical and material world around us. And in fact, unfortunately, many of the Jewish people at that time Hellenized. They got involved in this ancient Greek culture. And sure enough, they went and the Greeks went into the temple, and what was their first objective? To make the temple impure, and they defiled the temple. They came in, their main objective, like we said, just to pour out olive oil to contaminate all the seals so that it shouldn't be, quote unquote, ritually pure. And subsequently, a small band of Maccabees. The Maccabees came and they fought against this incredibly powerful Greek army. The Greek army, which was notorious for being so powerful, using elephants in their infantry. And the small band, the few against the many, the small band of Jewish people who stood up, said, Mi Lashem Elai, all those that are for God, come with me. And they realized that this was a terrible thing that was happening to the Jewish people. And after being victorious, they went into the Temple Mount and saw that it was completely pillaged and ransacked. And they entered the Temple Mount, they went into the Holy Temple, and they found terrible things, all sorts of pork and swine, inappropriate things, writings on the wall. But as they made their way into the Holy of Holies, where the menorah, which is lit every single day in the Holy Temple, they found only one jug of pure olive oil, still with the seal of the Kohen Gadol on the top, the kosher symbol, if you will. And even though they knew that it was going to take several days, 3 days, to go ahead and travel to a faraway city to make new oil, a day to make it, and then 3 days to return, it's going to be an additional 7 days. They said, we're not forlorn. We're not going to be crying about not having anything to do today because we have one jug of oil. Let's utilize the little that we do have. And they lit the menorah, and they, sure enough, as we know, the miracle is that instead of lasting for 1 day, the oil miraculously burned brightly, ever so brightly, stronger, more powerfully, not just for 1 day, but to their amazement, a 2nd day, and then a 3rd day, and then a 4th day, and then a 5th day, 6th day, 7th day, 8th day, until the new batch of oil came from far away. The Jewish people realized what an incredible miracle this was. So essentially, the miracle of Hanukkah is on two parts. One, of course, the victory of the few against the many. And on the second element, a reminder from above that we need to do what we can. We have oil. We have what we need for today. This little, I don't know, many people have excuses in their life. Why should I wake up? Why should I encourage myself to have a phenomenal rest of the week if I knew Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday was not successful? I woke up, quote unquote, on the wrong side of the bed. But no, the story of Hanukkah teaches us today is a brand new experience. You have one jug of oil. You think that perhaps there's other areas of your life that can use improvement, and you don't know where it's going to come from. But the things that you do have, how are we utilizing that? The skill sets that we have, how are we utilizing it for the service of God? And of course, as we know, the menorah also represents adding a candle. Each and every single day, we add an additional candle to the menorah. And that's the power and the importance of Hanukkah. That from the first day, that's not enough. You need to light a new candle. Each and every day in our lives, we have to additionally try to rise and move and elevate ourselves and have a projective of forward growth. Of course, as we know, a tree that is not growing is dead. So too physically, so too spiritually. We have to grow in our spirituality. We have to realize that while there might not necessarily be overt Greeks that are outside telling us not to do what we need to do, although we are seeing some of that today, but inside we might have a Greek. We might have someone who's telling us that you're not good enough. You're not holy. And because you're not holy, why should you bother to go to the synagogue on Saturday? Why should you bother to wrap the tefillin today or to light the Shabbat candles? And the answer is, every Jew is like that small jug, that small pure jug of olive oil. Even if everything around him is in complete chaos, but to realize at this time and place, we are pure, we are holy, and we have so much once we tap into that inner jug of oil that is within each and every one of us. And all the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, on the outside, the spiritual energies that are trying to bog us down will never be able to overcome that small amount of oil, that small jug of pure, untainted holiness. And that's what the neshama is. That's the beauty of the neshama. Every single Jew by birthright. Chelek eleka mim'al mamash. There's literally a piece of God within him, which is able to, in any situation that we find ourselves in, bring us out. And I would like to end off with a story. As someone was in the airport, he was, unfortunately, he saw that the weather was very, very difficult, crazy blizzards and thunderstorms and storms, and he wrote into the Mazkiris, he wrote into the Rebbe, he faxed in, or he called into the office of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe that, what should he do? He's supposed to be somewhere. He's finding himself in this very difficult situation, and shortly after, he receives a response that we don't find ourselves in a situation. We put ourselves in a situation. Everything around us that happens on a cosmic level, and specifically to us as a spiritual being, we have to know it's happening intentionally because God put it there. It's set in front of us. And therefore, we have to realize this situation that I find myself in, quote unquote, is exactly where I need to be. It's not a bad situation. It's exactly where I need to be. And I know that there's something here that I need to do at this time and place. And God brought me to this city and this place, even if it looks like a snowstorm, that there's something that has to be accomplished. And sure enough, that individual, while they were in the airport, managed to find several other Jewish people and light the menorah, bring the Hanukkah spirit to people that might not otherwise have had it. And for that, I believe each and every one of us have to take some more time internally and to think about all the blessings that we have in our life, to think about all the incredible good and light that we have in our life, and to realize that while it's a lot of opportunity for complaining, as the words of Jimmy Carter says, ask not the country, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Realize that we are all needed for a specific purpose on planet Earth. And Hanukkah reminds us our job is, as we know, the very first creation that God created, Vayihi Or. We need to bring the light. We wish you and your family a happy Hanukkah. Make sure to pick up a menorah or candles here in Chabad of Santa Clara or from any Chabad near you. Reach out to us anytime you need. We're very, very excited to see you all for all the incredible events that we have here in Santa Clara, starting the first night with the epic Santana Row menorah lighting and concert. Phenomenal 7-piece band, over 1,000 people. Fresh sufganiyot, you be there. Next night of Hanukkah, we have menorah lighting right here in the city of Santa Clara, in the center, Santa Clara City Hall. We'll be lighting the menorah. We'll have police, fire department, city officials, and a phenomenal time for families. And then Monday nights for young adults. Monday nights at 7:30 for young adults. We'll be having a phenomenal DIY, do-it-yourself sufganiyot cook-off, levivot, latkes, and lots of phenomenal fried foods, as it's customary to eat a lot of oil on the holiday of Hanukkah. Wishing you and your family a phenomenal Hanukkah. Be well.